Video games to me is not just a hobby, it is a passion. And this channel is about me sharing my passion with you. So let's get right down to business. I've played Pokemon pretty much my entire life. I began with Pokemon Blue way back in 1996, and I was absolutely obsessed with it. And since then, I've played every generation of Pokemon, including the remakes. I'm a competitive person, and as I've gotten older, I've found nothing like the competitive scene for Pokemon. There is just an endless amount of strategies with all the Pokemon, abilities, held items, natures, and everything else. I'm telling you all this to give you an idea of my history with Pokemon. To put it shortly, it's one of my all-time favorite franchises to this day. But with that said, I can't help but think Pokemon Shield and Sword is making a huge mistake. See, I predicted the game to sell much better than Pokemon Let's Go way back when Let's Go was announced. I knew Let's Go would sell really well. After all, it looked like a great game, but it was essentially a stripped down version of the core franchise, and it was a remake of the originals. But see, Let's Go also catered to a big audience, as most people who buy Pokemon games don't actually play competitively, so a lot of things they took out really didn't matter to these people. It was basically a cash grab of Pokemon Go, not that that's a bad thing. It also added something that has often been requested. Well, probably since the inception of Pokemon, it was only sought after more with better hardware. People have dreamed about seeing Pokemon walk around in the wild for years and years, and it was finally happening in Pokemon Let's Go. I mean, we can finally go through caves and tunnels and not be attacked by countless Zubats, Geodudes, and other scrubby Pokemon we don't want. We can just walk around them and say sayonara. This also led to easy chaining for shinies, and it seemed to be all over Twitter there for a while. There's just something about that moment when you spot a wild shiny just roaming around. It's a special moment for sure, so yeah, it was just a great choice all around. So of course we all thought that with the next generation of Pokemon, the game that many of us were looking forward to was going to have the same thing. But for whatever reason, Game Freak decided to bring back random encounters. Honestly, I really don't understand this decision. Maybe it was too much work putting several hundred Pokemon in the game with their own walk animations, or maybe there's a lot of people who enjoy random encounters. I'm not really sure, but I do think it is a huge mistake. As I was alluding to earlier, Pokemon has a lot of casual fans, and several of them will probably have a negative impression of Pokemon Shield and Sword once they find out that there is random encounters rather than having it like Pokemon Let's Go. Don't get me wrong. I do think Pokemon Sword and Shield will be the superior game, and I personally can't wait to jump into the game to start figuring out my own strategies, but I can't help but be disappointed by this. I mean, what is the point in bringing back random encounters? I understand Game Freak kind of follows a formula and they don't go off the beaten path often, but this just kind of seems like a step back. While Pokemon Let's Go is certainly not my favorite Pokemon game, and I actually haven't even finished it because of that, it did add a few things that really brought the world to life. At the end of the day though, these games for me are about the competitive scene first and foremost. If anything, I hope they make getting specific natures like Adamant, Docile, etc. easier, which is something that Let's Go did a good job with as well. In Let's Go, you can actually pay a woman in a Poké Center to make all the wild Pokemon be a specific nature for the entire day. There are things like this I'm hoping they bring to Shield and Sword because Pokemon can tend to be grindy if you play it competitively. I mean, I've probably hatched like 2 bajillion eggs by this point, so I'm just saying. So what about you all though? Do you all think this is a big deal, or are you okay with random encounters coming back? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.